Welcome to OLLI at Emory. I'm Annie Kinnett Nichols, and I have Dan Vollaro, an OLLI instructor, here with us today. Welcome, Dan.
Hi,
How are you doing?
I'm doing well today.
Great, great. Well, let's get right to it. Can you let us know about your background and your passion?
Sure. My background is kind of complicated, but I'll try to make it simple. Um, I have two degrees. One of them is a PhD in 19th century American literature. And then earlier than that, about 10 years before that, I earned a master's degree in religious studies. It's a degree in Jewish Christian studies. I also have a bachelor's degree in English from way back when, but I'd spent the last 22 years teaching. I started out teaching in the late 90s, high school. I taught at a private boys' school in New Jersey for 3 years. That was that was sort of my introduction to teaching. And then I switched to college teaching, and I've been doing that for about 20 years. And I really enjoy it. I mostly teach writing courses now, but I have a very strong interest in literature still. As I said, I have a PhD in 19th century American literature, and very interested in that period in American history and culture. And I'm also just generally interested in books and ideas, and I love the opportunity to have really rich discussions with students about those things. I live for that.
Please tell us about your love of all things Thoreau.
Oh yeah, so Henry David Thoreau is probably, I'd say, the biggest influence on me, both personally and intellectually. I read, well, like a lot of people, I read Walden when I was in high school, when I was 16 years old, and that book just really lit a fire in me. I've read it, many times since then, and I've read lots of other, most of Thoreau's other writing. And there's just something about that book. It's like a call to action to be an alive, awake, environmentally conscious person in the world. And that's how I first encountered that book. And then, when I became a writing teacher, I thought about it in a different way, because I reread the book and I realized that in Walden he was kind of inventing American creative nonfiction as a genre. You could see it being partially invented in that book. The whole genre of writing that is about trying to capture a place or a sense of place. Thoreau was just one of the early inventors of that style of writing. And yeah, so I just began. Thoreau has been really a touch point in my personal life, my intellectual life. I've written articles about Thoreau. I'm a member of the Thoreau Society. And a couple of years ago, I was featured in a BBC radio documentary on Thoreau. So yeah, Thoreau's a big passion of mine.
That's great. He is definitely an American icon. Can you tell us about your course, your upcoming course you're going to be teaching?
Yeah, sure. The course I'm teaching is on American environmental writing since Thoreau. And the idea of the course is that it tries to capture like 150 years of Americans writing about and grappling with the environment, but also environmental issues. And I'd say the course is really it's for nature lovers, and it's also for environmentally conscious people who want to learn a little bit more about the history of the environmental movement and environmental writing in America. And so we're going to be using a book called American Earth, which is an anthology of American writing, environmental writing since Thoreau. And, we're going to read some really well-known environmental writers like John Muir and Henry David Thoreau, Rachel Carson, and Aldo Leopold. But we're also going to read some like lesser known works. Like, for example, oddly enough, P.T. Barnum wrote an editorial opposing billboards, right? Which is really fascinating. And then also there's, we're going to read this really interesting collection of writing from a guest book that was at one of the overlooks for Niagara Falls in the 1840s. And it contains this really beautiful poetic writing from ordinary people who showed up at that overlook and left their thoughts about Niagara Falls in the guest book. So it's a really eclectic mix of writing that we're going to read in the course, and I think it'll be really interesting.
It sounds very interesting. I love the different ways that you're going about it. So we look forward to your course, and everybody sign up. And thank you for your time, Dan. We super appreciate it.
Thank you. Looking forward to it.
Bye.
Bye.